You know God's called you to rural ministry when you have an event and about 20% of the people there are wearing camouflage. That's just the kind of area this is. We have a lot of Duck Dynasty fans, a lot of hunting, a lot of fishing. We don't take the opening day of hunting season off of school, but it's not far away. The good thing about New Yorkers is you can tell them the truth and put it bluntly. They are New Yorkers. But as long as they know you care about them in the middle of it, they will hear it. So you don't go out looking to cause offense, but because the gospel is offensive, it will cut. What I've found is that many people have not heard the gospel. We assume that they're not interested, but they haven't even heard it one good solid time yet. That's the condition that most of our town is in. They have not heard. Places like this are typical of upstate. Small little pizza joints where people hang out and congregate. They come here every Sunday for dinner, for lunch, and they already understand community. They already do community. They just don't have God in it yet. And that's what we're trying to introduce them to. 20 years ago, this place was booming. Businesses were moving into town. It was a lot of the railroad workers would spend their money here. Since then, the town has been declining population-wise. There's just not the jobs. So people, historically, the families live here and then they move outside to work. They go to Rutland, they go to Glens Falls, they go to Fort Ann, they go anywhere else for work, but they still live here in town, and those families are still around. So if you grew up rural, if you know small town life, if you know pizza shops on a corner and all the men get together for coffee at 6 a.m. at Stewart's, then you know my town. Maybe you know folks grew up in a community where social assistance, whether it's a state program or a federal program, was heavily used. That's our town as well. These are people that need to know the love of Christ, and maybe God wants you to reach them. We're to be the hands and feet of Christ, so what are you doing about that? The Armory is a big, multi-purpose building that they just renovated, and they have professional wrestling in there. They have amateur boxing. They have all kinds of sporting events. So we wanted to do a banner that represented our community. So big hunting and fishing area, we went with camouflage. And now whenever they have a wrestling tournament, a wrestling event, a boxing match, people see our sign and they know that there's a church that's a little bit culturally relevant and not exactly what they expected. Hi there.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm good.
Good.
I grew up in Whitehall, 27 years, born and raised.
What could a church do that would mean something to Whitehall?
I think Whitehall needs more things for kids to do, to be honest with you. We have just the school.
You said that most people don't go to church nowadays. Families that do have young kids, there's not a lot of things for them to do. So if a church had activities for kids and programs, you think that'd be helpful, beneficial to them?
I think absolutely. My nephew actually saw on the poster of the Whitehall Times where they had, it was around Halloween time, they had the Adams Street.
Like the big fall festival?
Yes, yeah, and he went, but my sister doesn't do church and all that, but he went to it.
That was our church.
Yes, and that's what I thought. And he went to it and he loved it, absolutely loved it. So I think if there was more things like that the churches would do in this town, I think a lot of the kids would really respond to it.
Okay.
But, you know.
What would you say, is a person's greatest spiritual need? Not even in Whitehall, New York, but just in general. What do you think in your opinion, is our greatest spiritual need?
I really don't know. I don't really know, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would answer that.
Okay. What does it take for a person to go to heaven?
To be good. Be a good person, you know? Do the little things that matter. Little things that people don't do anymore.
What did Jesus do that's significant for us?
make us realize that everyone is equal pretty much, that everyone is connected in some way, shape, or form. Everyone is brothers, sisters, everyone is together.
I left her a card and invited her to church, and whenever I talk about the gospel, I try to emphasize that it's not by works, it's all by grace. So this is our town, Whitehall, New York, a town of about 4,000 people nestled on the bottom edge of the Adirondacks. I never thought I'd be a pastor of a town like this, but as far as I know, we're the only church making a real gospel difference here, leading people to Christ, and God's blessing that. And He may be asking you to do the same thing in a different town with a different name. Perhaps in the Adirondacks, perhaps in Vermont, in one of the surrounding areas. There's such a need here for the gospel. It's a little warmer on this frosty November day inside, but here we're actually talking with the congregation about expanding.
And this growth is a result of?
It's a result of evangelism, getting out there and telling people. We've baptized since last December 12 people, and God's just been blessing us, giving us opportunities to talk to people and share His love with His community. So I don't know how God is stirring your heart, but maybe He wants you to come partner with us here in Whitehall. We need people to plant churches. We need people to pastor existing churches and turn them around and where they're community focused so that they're making a difference for Christ. We're to be His ambassadors, and that means being outside of our own comfort zone sometimes.